Alright, so we're on my Roblox profile, and the first public game that I have linked under my account is AFK Simulator, and it says play if you want to waste your time. So I think that basically sums up the game. It has 1,000 visits, so I mean that's really good for my first game. So let's go ahead and see what amazing content this game has. Also, I really love the icon, you know, it's just my avatar with rainbow in the background. Alright, so we're in. Yeah, the map, you can tell I put a lot of effort into the map. At least we have these bridges over here where you can climb up. Pretty sure there's nothing up here to see, but at least you can just chill up here instead of chilling down there, which changes nothing. So in this game, I have 50,000 seconds. And if you didn't notice, the whole point of this game is that you just sit in the game and every second your time goes up by 1. And then I just have a time leaderboard here. So yeah, it's a very complex game. Someone's been in the game for 441,000 seconds. I also have this donation. So 10 Robux donation. You don't even have to actually donate and the donation amount will go up. Like I can select yes, and then I don't buy this, but it still goes up to 2. Oh, it went up to 3 that time. Yeah, it's definitely not working. I have no clue why this guy stayed in the game for 400,000 seconds when second place only has nearly 200,000. It's kind of stupid. For the next few games, I never made them public, so I have to go into Roblox Studio. This next project here, Untitled Game. This is like really early, so I basically knew nothing about Roblox development, so I would just mess around with random stuff. But in this game, I basically just made a few islands, then I had these coins floating around. And the idea was you would collect coins, and then over here was going to be a shop, which you can see I forgot to anchor. But in the shop, you would buy pets, and they would give you coin multiplier. It's basically like every other simulator, like an upgrade area. And then the rebirth pad over there. I made all the pads, but I didn't actually script anything for them because I didn't know how to do that. But the one nice thing we did was we made a teleporter. And also something that I find really funny, this coin script, instead of just having it live through all the coins, I copy and pasted the same code for every single coin. And the only thing I changed was this part right here, the coin number. So yeah. I was very inefficient with how I scripted, but that's basically it for this game. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, so this next project is sort of a remake of the last one we just looked at. At this time, I was mainly focusing on building because, in my opinion, learning how to build is a lot easier than learning how to script because it's more visual. So like it doesn't take as much brain power. Like when you're younger, it's a lot easier to just get into building instead of watching a bunch of scripting tutorials and trying to figure out how everything works. I still incorporated a little bit of scripting. Like if you get close to this chest right here, has a little open animation, but like I would try and make a closing animation and that didn't work very well. I thought this map looked really cool. The colors are a little extreme, which I didn't really notice at the time. For some reason, I spent like over an hour getting this working right here. Sorry, my game's so laggy. Oh my gosh. I made this little animation where the boxes would just come out and then go up here. And this would be like your storage area. It's like you would buy stuff in here and then you'd sell your coins over there. And then over here, I was going to have another small shop. We're not going to talk about the guy who's inside the shop. This was when I was a fan of Bubblegum Simulator, and this guy is now banned permanently off of YouTube. So yeah, let's just not talk about that. I really thought it was cool having these like smaller islands lead up to the area and then having the chains hold the island on. I might like incorporate that in future builds if I ever do more islands. But yeah, now with that out of the way, let's go on to an actual game that we can play with scripting. Okay, so this is the next project. At the time, obbies were very popular. I mean, they still are, and so are simulators, honestly. But I tried combining the two. So basically, you would complete an obby and earn points for completing that obby. This is clearly not a complete game, but we have the main functionality to it. You would teleport into this portal, and then you would spawn over in this grass area, and you would just go through and complete the obby. Now this is the first world, so it's obviously a really easy obby. And there's also checkpoints on each little area. So the water kills you when you fall, and then you spawn back onto your checkpoint. We have moving parts. This is all just copied from the free Roblox obby thing. If you want to see the first part of me making this game, it's actually on my old channel, but I don't recommend watching any other videos on that channel. It's a little cringy. That was back in my bubblegum simulator days. But yeah, the idea is once you reach the end of the portal, you would get a certain amount of points. And then over time, you would be able to buy upgrades for those points and unlock the other worlds. So like right now, we're doing the ice world, and it's a little bit harder than the grass world, but it's still pretty easy in my opinion. And that's coming from someone who sucks at obbies, by the way. Like right here, now we have a spinning part, which wasn't in the first one. And yeah, and then this part's a little harder. It's not very noticeable though. And then like ideally you would get more points from this obby than the previous one. And there's also a third world, but I'm too lazy to go into that. So yeah, that's it for this one. Okay, so next up we have our next game that's actually published on Roblox. This is my first actual like complete game, and it has just over 2,000 visits, and there might be someone in the game right now. Let me check. Yeah, let's go ahead and join them and see if they're enjoying the game. So I obviously had to make it so that you spawn right at the donations leaderboard to try and motivate players to donate so I could get extra Robux. But yeah, this is my first complete game. Over here we have all the leaderboards, and you can see some people actually like really grinded. Like this girl, she's first on almost every leaderboard except for this one right here. This guy's coming up, he's catching up to her on Toxin. I also included like secret buttons where you would have to come down here, then you'd have to reset your character afterwards because I was too lazy to add in a teleport. Let's go ahead and say what's up. The thing with this game, I think it's a lot better than my current button simulator that I'm working on buttons wise, because there's a lot less buttons, but like the animation's a lot cleaner and it's more obvious when you can afford one. Like, so you can see like when you afford the button, it grows a bit and then the material changes to neon. So I might add that into my current button simulator and redo the button model since it's just a cylinder right now. In this game, we also added this shop where you could buy sprint, 2 times cash and 2 times multi. The only people that actually bought these passes were my friends that I know in person, and they've been begging me ever since to give them the Robux back. The reason the map gets darker as you travel further up is because you can travel to space once you get 1 prestige, which I do not have right now, but there's a lot more buttons over there. You can see it up in the distance over there. The map is not the best, I gotta be honest, it's a little crammed, but I thought it was good while I was making it. I do like the idea of having all the leaderboards in one long hallway though, so I might try and change that. I was gonna keep updating this game, but I started just losing motivation, but at least now I have the newer one that everyone's playing. So that's it for this game. Let's go on to the next one. And this next one is probably one of my favorite builds still to this day, just because of how simple it is, yet it's really polished and clean. So the whole point of this build was to remake that game called Pet Ranch Simulator. It was my favorite game for ages. If you've never heard of it, you should check it out. It's kind of dead now, but a few years ago it was popping off with like 20,000 players. Basically the whole point of the game was you would have your own island, and then you would be able to get pets onto your island, and they would generate you coins each second. You would hatch for pets in the middle, and it was basically an AFK game, but this was like one of the first games where you would really just AFK hatch. I feel like it was one of the games that really started that trend, which is kind of sad because everyone hates those games now. But anyways, the map, I thought it was really good. I didn't really finish anything. That's kind of the trend with a lot of my projects. I just kind of start them with a fun idea and then I lose motivation instantly. You start to realize that it's actually kind of difficult to do what you want. I'm really happy with how it is, even if it's not done. I thought it turned out really well for what there is. I was planning on having the portals over here and then maybe like a codes board here, and the player's name would show up on this top thing. That's why it's just kind of floating there. I might use this map for like a future game if I ever come back to it. I never did learn how to do a hatching system. That's sort of like the main reason I stopped with this project. But if I am ever learning how to do one, I might come back to this. Okay, so next up, we got everyone's favorite game, Happy's Mini Games. This is the first game that I posted on this channel, and it's really what helped me realize that posting development videos can actually get views, because it did way better than any of my other videos on this channel. If you haven't seen my videos, the point of this game is it's basically a copy of Epic Mini Games, where you're generated into a random game, and then you compete with the other players. So in this one, it's an obby, and the lava will start rising, and you have to escape the obby before the lava catches up to you. And if the lava catches up, you obviously die. I was really happy with making this game, but I just sort of realized that if I really committed to it, I would be on a constant grind of coming up with new minigame ideas and making like a different minigame each week, and I feel like I would get burnt out of that really quick. I may come back to it in the future because you guys really want to see more of it, and I wouldn't really mind making another minigame or two here and there. But if you didn't see the videos on how I made those, you should definitely check it out. Next up on the list, we got this mining tycoon that I started. The idea was that you would build like a mining empire and just basically have a giant tycoon. I wanted to make it like one of the biggest tycoons ever, and I really had a strong start. I don't know why I stopped. So like you buy the mine, and it even generates different ores with like different prices on them. So like this stone's a lot bigger and it's worth 5, and then that's small and only worth 2. And then it would come over here and get burnt, and your money would go up over time. So let me just stop the project really quick and show you what it would look like once you bought everything. We just drag this all into workspace. You can see I had a lot planned out, but like I just didn't bother making the buttons to purchase anything. And all of these mines would be running and spawning in the ores into the burners, and you'd be making bank. Really just the beginning of something cool that I never really had the motivation to finish because it kind of scared me, to be honest, having to script each individual button. But I may come back to it in the future because it's definitely a cool idea. Next up on the list, we've got our famous cookie clicker. We currently got 0 people playing and 14,000 visits. So this is the biggest game yet by far with the 14,000 visits. And there's usually like 5 or 6 people playing on a good day. This is probably one of the projects that I'm most proud of, and you'll see why in a second. So as you can see, we're in a world with giant cookies, and we have this little cookie icon on the top that shows how many cookies you have. And this is basically just a copy of the cookie clicker game on your phone, where you can just purchase upgrades, and you have a cookie in your hand, you just eat it for more cookies. But you can purchase upgrades that generate cookies over time, or you can buy a stronger clicker. And then once you get to 10,000 cookies, you can come over here and reset your progress, but you get gems, which can be used over here in the gem shop. And the gems also give you like a cookie boost. And as you can see, some people have been really grinding this game. It's not an easy game at all, so like when this person got to 1 trillion, I was really impressed. The game kind of died, but some people still really go hard at this game and grind it. I've had a lot of good feedback about this game. A few people have even sent me emails or Discord messages asking to buy the game, which shows that the game has some good potential. So I'll probably come back and make an update to this game. If you want to see more about this game, go ahead and check the video on making this game. And let's go on to the next one. So next up, we got the game that I made in 1 hour. You can tell I put a lot of effort into advertising the game with a nice thumbnail. It still has 2,000 visits, and for some reason 16 people favorited it. So obviously there's not much to expect in a game that was made in 1 hour. This was just a challenge for a video that I uploaded. If you want to see it, just go into my Making Games playlist and it should be one of those videos. Yeah, some people really AFK'd this game just to get on the leaderboards, and then they quit obviously once they get like top 10. But I thought it was really good for just an hour. The next big game I made was based around this foundation that I created in this 1 hour. I mean, there's not much to see here. Let's just go on to the next one before you get bored. So next up we have this troll obby that I made. I thought it turned out very well. I never made it public because of how short it was, but my friends had a lot of fun playing it in my video.
Yo, what the It's there. Oh my god. Oh, I made a startling discovery, guys.
And I mean, that's all that this was really made for, was just to make my friends angry. But yeah, there's not much more to this. It's just a regular obby, except it tricks you in some places, and sometimes you don't spawn back correctly. So let's go to our most recent game that we've made. All right, so this is the game that you all have been dedicating your lives to for some reason. The game where you sit on a button and get stats over time. And from this game, I've been making a lot of Robux. We currently have 3,000 pending, and we've made 10,000 without that in the past month from this game. And the Robux are still coming in. Let's go ahead and get into this game. I also dislike the game because I know it's not worth playing. But you guys still choose to play it anyway. Someone has 1.2 million gems, which means they've been AFK in the game for multiple days straight. And yeah, there's actually people playing right now. Wanna say hi to Vid? I am watching your vid right now. That's funny. If you guys want to advertise your games, I really recommend starting a YouTube channel because it's a great way to build a community of people who actually enjoy your games and your channel at the same time. OMG, he really a dev. Play this game, so fun. I think he's trying to say that this game is fun. Thank you. So if we look at the total cash, the top 3 hasn't really changed since my last video, but lots of people have been starting to catch up. It's a very hard game. Like, as you can see, only 6 people have gotten lava and only 3 people have unlocked super rebirth. But yeah, it's a very grindy game. So if you want to dedicate a few days of your time to barely even getting on the leaderboard, this is the game for you. Also, while you're at it, go ahead and buy my game passes. This is easily like one of the higher quality games I've made. It's between this one and the cookie clicker, but the cookie clicker is so much simpler, so it's easier to make things higher quality. But with this, there's so much going on. And this is the best UI in my opinion. I like this better than the cookie clicker. This also took like 5 times longer to make. It has been working because people are buying way more game passes now. That's basically all of the games that I've made since I started developing. I had noticed that like the common trend was for me to start a project and then just drop it right after starting it, because I was scared by how much I needed to learn in order to get the project working properly. But over time, I've been getting a lot better, so I'm planning in the future to come back to a lot of these projects I started and finish them now that I'm able to. If there's any project that you saw that you want me to specifically focus on, let me know in the comments. And other than that, that's basically the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed this new style where I really just talk to you guys instead of doing a long voiceover. Play this game, everyone, or I will not eat this cookie in my hand. So yeah, go ahead and play this game. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.